That is the sound of the Greek Hellenic ethnic religion, also known as Hellenismos. This group draws on the cultural, philosophical, and religious beliefs of ancient Greek society. The religion is based on the classic texts.
Hey, Minasan. So, here we go. Time to talk about worshipping sticks.
Worshipping sticks? Really? Well, this video is off to a good start. No, my friend, we worship the gods. We don't worship sticks. That's just a straw man. Or should I say a stick man? Yes, there's gonna be a lot of memes in this video. Oh, hello my friends! Son of Sodas here. Today, I'll be responding to the gentleman Pastor George. I'll be addressing his assertions about paganism being nothing but a meme. Oh, I'm going to enjoy debunking this video, because I love memes! Let's do this.
This is a series that I've really wanted to do for some time now, but the whole COVID pandemic thing put it on the back burner. So here we go. So before I jump into why paganism is such a meme, and why I'm going to try and dissect every weird, strange variant of it, I have to talk about my experience with it first.
Okay, let's take a look at this ridiculous meme here. 420% pure Aryan Nordic. That's why I converted to Paganism, because it's my ancestors' religion, and I can feel them keep begging in me. What the heck is this? Okay, first of all, why does he have a picture of Jesus holding Thor's hammer? And why is he saying F God? Is there some joke I'm not getting here? I guess whoever created this meme didn't realize that pagans don't believe in the Christian God. Who's clueless now, huh?
So I grew up Christian, going to church in a very normal, mainline sort of way. And that was fine. I appreciated my Christian upbringing, and I considered myself Christian basically my whole life until I got into late high school. And in late high school, something pretty traumatic in my life happened, so I had to rethink a lot about what I thought when it came to religion and spirituality and stuff like that. I never became an atheist or anything, as it was super popular to do. Never tipped my fedora in that direction, but I did start tipping my fedora in other ways. And one of the most popular ways that I think guys like me acted out our religious angst in this generation was through paganism. Now, I never actually became a pagan, but I got pretty close. I did a lot of research into it, and I was pretty enthralled by the whole thing for quite some time. To my everlasting shame, I even bought one of those frickin' Mjolnir necklaces, which is somewhere around here. I don't know, it looks cool, but it definitely was not a smart purchase in hindsight.
Alright, so Pastor George here was never a pagan to begin with. Keep that in mind throughout the video. Alright, George, I myself am a Hellenic pagan. I used to be a Greek Orthodox Christian before I converted. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't become a pagan because it was just super cool or edgy or whatever nonsense. I converted for more, well, serious reasons. Okay, so Pastor George here is trying to make our faith into some kind of teenage angst, or something about teenage rebellion. No, George, paganism is not some teenage fad. It's our faith. Look, George, I didn't become a pagan because it was a fad or because it was super edgy or whatever nonsense. Look, that may have been the reason why you considered becoming a pagan, but that's not the reason why serious pagans become pagans. And honestly, if you just became a pagan because you thought it was cool or edgy or what nonsense, odds are you're not going to be a pagan for long. Oh, and I'm sure you noticed my ankh right here. Now, I don't just wear this ankh because it looks cool, but don't get me wrong, it does. I wear this ankh as a symbol of my faith in the gods. Now look, I've been a pagan for years now, and I take my devotion to the gods seriously.
And I think the reason I did that is because paganism kind of presented this alternative to me, one where I felt very special, one where I could control what I wanted to believe about certain things and didn't really have to rely on anyone else. But I still got that experience of having this ancient religion, and I put that in big quotes because it's not really that ancient, as you'll see in this series.
Why, of course it's that ancient. They don't call it the old religion for nothing.
But I still got to feel as though I was connected to this big past or whatever. And I looked at them all, ancient Egypt, Norse mythology / Asatru type stuff, and of course, Hellenism. Each of these appealed to me in different ways, and I'll go into how each of them failed in different videos, but needless to say, I did my research in these things.
Yes, finally! Someone who's actually done their research! My friend, you have no idea how many discussions I've been in with people who claim to have done research, but when pressed on the matter, turns out they absolutely had no knowledge on the subject. But I'm glad you did your research. But guess what? So have I. And perhaps later I'll describe how Christianity fails.
I'm sure if you know my real name, you lucky few, you would be able to find lists with my name on it that are like pagan adjacent online. Very embarrassing. But I need to keep it there to keep myself humble. Or maybe they've been scrubbed from the internet, because these communities don't last very long. And if God is merciful, they have been. I haven't looked into it myself.
Ah, so you wish communities of those who disagree with you to be scrubbed off the internet? Lovely. You're not humbled, my friend. That is apparent.
But paganism by itself seems to be growing in the United States and across the West. And I think there are several theories for this, and I think they're the same ones that attracted me to it. Sense of purpose, sense of belonging, sense of being part of a tradition that goes back before the church. And I think a big part of it is being a part of what your ancestors believed.
Well, good. It's nice to see people returning to their roots.
That's what motivated me anyway. And that's why one of the things I was most attracted to in Asatru was the fact that it was all based on Scandinavian mythology, which is where my family is from. Now, it all ends up becoming a vat of redundancy when you do more research into these things.
Wow, so your origin is what? You fell into a vat of redundancy? God damn!
Really? That's what you call it? You know, it's funny how in my research I found the exact opposite to be the case.
But it still is definitely worth considering these kind of boons and how the church can respond to each of them. But that's not what this video is for. Maybe that's what each individual video will be for, and that's how I'll end the series. No, this video is just meant to show how much of a meme these things are and my own experience with them. So, my first experience with paganism outside of my own research into it is encountering pagans in the wild. And you never get to encounter pagans more than when you are at a small liberal arts college. And in my liberal arts college, there was a pagan group, but they were basically not very active as far as I could tell, or it was really just a group of friends that danced when the solstice came around or whatever.
Yes, apparently that's how he's trying to portray most of us. When many Christians try to poke fun at pagans, they always have to bring up this stereotype of a new agey college liberal hippie.
But I was part of a Christian fellowship because this is when I had returned to Christianity in full. I never really left it, but this is when my faith was redoubled. And I was selected to be part of a Interreligious Panel representing my Christian fellowship. And I was super stoked about it, did my research, and for the most part, it was a great discussion. And it was put on by the Secular Alliance at my school, and despite being fedora tippers, they did a really good job. So if you're an atheist listening to this video, take pride in the fact that one of the groups representing you isn't a total embarrassment. But anyway, I had the esteemed privilege of getting to sit right next to the pagan. And they would ask us all these questions about what we believed and why we believed it, and our common answers to these questions that had things to do with faith. And I remember they asked the pagan what worship looked like to him, and he was like, well, I don't know, I worship the god Nyx. She's the goddess of the night. And I mean, like, I don't really pray to her or anything, but sometimes when I'm in the shower, I think about her.
What?
Now, this is like the majority of pagans that are alive right now, just to let you know. They don't really have the same religious fervor that you will see other people have, even from non-Abrahamic, non-monotheistic religion. And they certainly don't resemble actual pagans. And that's going to be a distinction that I make in this series between neo-pagans and actual pagans. Because neo-pagans have this more Christianity-light flavor to them, where they basically believe all the moral tenets of Christianity without actually being Christian. Hence the vat of redundancy thing.
Wow, so your origin is what? You fell into a vat of redundancy? God damn!
Incorrect, my friend. Not even close. Alright, Pastor George. I think we need to make something abundantly clear here. Because here, you're not talking about actual pagans who have actual faith in the gods. You're not talking about actual serious pagans who take their devotion to the gods seriously. What you're describing here is a bunch of new agey liberal hippies! Namaste, man. I'm like a pagan, man. We pagans are children of Mother Earth, man. Being a pagan is so cool, man. We get to work with the elements, man. We smoke sage in our rituals, man. We become enlightened by aligning our chakras, man. We are people of nature, man. There are a million genders, man. Alright, George, there's something you need to understand here. You're not talking about serious pagans. You're talking about people who try to wear our faith as a piece of trendy fashion. You're describing people who call themselves pagans, but don't actually take their faith seriously. You're describing people who call themselves pagans because they think it's cool and trendy or what BS. But they don't pray to the gods. They don't worship the gods. Heck, they don't actually practice their religion. They're just in it for the fashion.
Don't look at me. I was just in this for the fashion.
Pastor George, it is really insulting for you just to assume that we don't have any religious fervor or devotion. I myself am a pious pagan, and I take my devotion to the gods seriously. George, I know this may be difficult for you to understand, but the gods have really helped me turn my life around. The gods have given me a lot of good guidance, and they have helped me to better myself and my life. The gods have blessed me with a great life, and I thank them for what I have every day. To me, paganism is not just some ridiculous fashion or fad or whatever nonsense. It's my faith. Remember, earlier in the video, George stated that he never became a pagan, and yet this guy has the audacity to make all these generalizations about us. George, you said it yourself. You never were a pagan. You never worshipped the gods. You were never a god-dang pagan. And yet you have the nerve to act as if you were more enlightened than us on the subject? Pathetic. And as for your assertions about pagans following Christian morals, I gotta say, what the heck are you talking about, George? Are you talking about pagans who try to mix Christianity with paganism or something like that? Okay, I don't know about the New Agey pagans you interacted with, but I live by the Delphic maxims. I strive to live by the Hellenic virtues. My Hellenic faith conflicts with the Christian tenets. Heck, your very religion sees me as immoral because I worship the gods. But guess what, my friend? I'm not Christian. I don't follow the tenets of Christianity. So that argument can just be thrown out the window. Now, he's probably trying to do that thing where Christians try to pretend that their religion invented morality or whatever nonsense. Well, I hate to break it to you, George, but Christianity did not invent morality. Nor does Christianity have a monopoly on morality.
Neo-paganism ends up just looking a lot like LARPing, which for most people, it is.
Oh, and here we go with the LARPing accusation again. You know, it's getting pretty annoying. Yes, pagans wear ritual robes, just like how the priests in other religions wear ritual robes. Yes, just like those Greeks at the beginning of the video. They were wearing ritual robes to honor the gods. They were not playing some role-playing game or what BS. And hey, if you think we're a bunch of LARPers, check out these guys. Look at all these silly LARPers. Who do they think they are? Are they trying to pretend to live in medieval times? Hey, nice monk costumes. Where'd you get them from? The Renaissance Fair? Hey, nice chef hats. And what are you supposed to be? Some kind of sorcerer king? And what are you guys role-playing as? Can I join the game? And what are you? Monks or druids?
The second time I encountered a pagan, and the thing that's been on my mind recently, was when I worked at Walmart. So while I was working at Walmart, which is a place where all the good stories happen, I was privileged to work with a really nice guy who was in charge of whatever they call it. I can't remember exactly the word for it, but it's the person that protects the products. He's essentially the security guard, catches thieves, all that type of stuff. And because I worked in the electronics section, I saw him pretty often, because one of the places where there's the most theft in Walmart and probably all different types of stores is in the electronics section. And this was in between when I graduated college and when I was headed to seminary a few months later. So I worked at Walmart to fill in the gap. And this guy came up to me and he was like, "So, I heard you're going to be a pastor." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the plan. I'm excited to do it, or, at least to go to seminary and see if I'm able to." And he goes, "Well, I'm a pagan, so I don't really believe in any of that stuff." Like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. Tell me a little bit more about your paganism or whatever, because I know there's all these different types of flavors." And he was like, "Well, I just kind of worship the ground and the earth and the stars because that's really what's been here. And really, when you boil it down, that's kind of what all pagans worship." And so I was like, that's kind of interesting. And I was really early on in my career. These days, I would have been rearing for a fight, and I think we would have had a good debate. Because again, he's nice, and if you meet me in person, I'm actually not as obnoxious as I am on here sometimes.
Oh, so you're not just some arrogant, obnoxious guy who likes to make generalizations about other people's religions? Well, that's nice to know. And that sounds like it was the guy's own opinion. And honestly, I don't go around telling people I'm a pagan, because that would just make me a target. Because there's many people like you who are just rooting for a fight against pagans. Except not in a good way.
But regardless, that scenario's been in my mind for a while, and I went, well, there's lots of pagans on YouTube talking about pagan things, making weird videos.
I know, right? I love making weird videos. Funny, if you think pagans make weird videos, you should see the videos Christians make these days.
So I might as well throw my hat into the ring, if you will. And so I'm going to be doing this series on paganism and pagans, and I'm going to be going through some of the big groups of pagans in the United States and what they believe. If you're a pagan, I want to invite you to come along with me on this journey. Who knows? Maybe you'll destroy Christianity in front of my eyes. Or maybe you will learn, as I learned, that these things are ultimately not very satisfying. They're not satisfying culturally, they're not satisfying historically, and they're not satisfying spiritually.
Challenge accepted, my friend. And it's very ironic that in my research and practice, I found the exact opposite to be the case. It's very satisfying. It's very strange that you would say that despite the fact you were never a pagan to begin with. But hey, I accept your challenge, and I'll be more than happy to destroy Christianity in front of your very eyes.
So I'm looking forward to this, and I just want to remind you all that I'm a modern-day St. Boniface. I'm coming for that oak.
And our sacred oak is coming for your churches.
I shed blood of Saxon man. I shed the blood of the Saxon man. I shed the blood of the Saxon man. I shed the blood of the Saxon man.
And he ends the video with a song about King Charlemagne committing genocide against the Saxons. Lovely. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.